Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. You're listening to Actors with Issues, a self-help podcast for actors, by actors. Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, and welcome back to another episode of Actors with Issues, the self-help podcast for actors, by actors, where we dive deep into the world of entertainment with special guests from TV, film, and Broadway, and discuss what it means to be an actor today. I'm your host, Juan Ayala, and joining us on the pod today is an actor you've seen in Grownish, Vampire Academy, Accused, and will star in the upcoming Netflix series Ransom Canyon, premiering April 17th on Netflix. Andrew Liner, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So before we dive into all of those credits that we just listed, I want to go back to the early years and sort of discuss your time coming up as an actor. So I find that, we as actors sort of fall into one of two categories as kids. We were either super shy and sort of use the arts to break out of our shell, or we're super energetic and creative and use the arts as like an outlet to like channel all of that energy. So
Yeah,
you fall into either one of those or somewhere in between?
I think I was somewhere in between. I was kind of a shyer kid, but I always played sports. So I wasn't a child actor or anything like that. I always was in sports, performing arts was a mandatory class for us in middle school. So and in elementary school. So that was kind of my shoe in. And then classic like chasing a girl into a musical, being like, yeah, sure. And then I kind of caught the bug for it, and I I don't know. The first time I was on stage, I played my grandpa in a play that we created, and before he got to see it, he passed away. So it was, I don't know. There's a lot of like weird little things like that that kind of like pushed me in the direction of what I'm doing now. And I mean, I feel like I was a shy kid, but once you get to know me, I have a lot of energy, you know?
Yeah.
So um, it's just about comfortability. And once I'm comfortable, I'm like too much, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm the
So
same way. Very much an introverted extrovert.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I explain it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think earlier on in my career, I mean, like with Grownish and stuff, and even Vampire Academy, I think I, I was 18 with Grownish, and I turned 21 when we were shooting Vampire Academy. So I was very much still finding myself and still finding, um, who Andrew is at his core. And I think that through those experiences, I kind of started to find myself more and more and more. Um, so yeah, I started off a bit shyer than maybe I would with when I got to Ransom, but it didn't last long. I eventually broke out of my shell and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that um, when you're starting off in an industry that is big and daunting, and you're going to the Disney lot to go shoot Grownish, and you see a big Mickey Mouse, and you're like, "This is great. I'm doing this. That's insane."
Yeah.
Like it's daunting, and I definitely was excited, but also like scared to mess up. So yeah, that's when the shy kid in me kicked into gear. But um, I don't know. I feel like a happy balance between the two is always healthy, and I think best.
And sort of being surrounded by all that, especially between, Grownish and then being a, six series regular on a show like Vampire Academy and whatnot, like, was there imposter syndrome creeping in during that time?
You know, I don't know. Honestly, it was kind of the opposite. I booked Grownish. My manager had found me at the time. My manager had found me. Uh, he came and saw a High School Musical of mine. We did Mamma Mia, and he thought I had good stage presence. I was handsome or whatever, charming, and I auditioned for him, and we started working together. And 3 months later, I booked Grownish,
Hmm.
and then 2.5 years after Grownish, I had auditioned for 181 different projects before getting Vampire Academy.
Yeah.
So it kind of was less of a imposter syndrome, and a lot of it was, I don't understand. Like Timothy Chalamet is already nominated for an Oscar, and he's this young, and like I better hustle up. And then it's
Yeah.
like it was more of me being comfortable with the process and relaxing into the patience of it all, and then also just being like a 21-year-old kid. Like I was a kid. Go
Yeah.
be a kid. You know, I think part of it was I would put all this pressure on myself to succeed and to win, and it was like once I released myself of that, I started finding success.
Mm.
So I released myself of that, and I booked Vampire Academy and Pretty Little Liars and uh, the first movie I ever booked, but I could only do one of them, and I chose Vampire Academy, and it was like that's crazy position to go from like not getting anything and getting super close and being like, oh, you're going to Canada in two weeks.
Right.
Just wait for our call, and then I don't get a call, and I'm like, what's going on? You know, it's like that whole thing of let me build you up, tear you down, build you up, tear you down. And if you put so much weight on it, it's like detrimental. So I don't think it was imposter syndrome. I think I had to like be like, I'm 21. I like what I do. I work hard, and it just is what it is. And I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that people see it. So cool. But I'm also like a kid, and let me go be a kid in Spain. This is my study abroad, you know,
Yeah.
because I was in college at the time. So uh, yeah, it was more of it was honestly just letting myself open up to the experience of being a young man.
And from a lot of the folks we've had on the show, that's been a pretty consistent sort of advice for young actors is like go out and experience the world because it will not only help you as an actor have experiences to draw on, but just help you grow as a human and get to experience new things and learn new things and experience new cultures. Like it's just sort of fulfilling for the human spirit, not just like, getting to experience things and have that to draw on, as an
100%.
actor.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that like I think you can tell when an actor is performing, and you can tell when an actor is talking and listening as a true human
Oh yeah.
being. And I think that comes with lived experience. Like, how do you expect to be charming on screen if you've never flirted with a girl or flirted with a boy or flirted with like you can't like what are you doing? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like now I'm not saying like if you're playing a heroin addict, it's just you got to try it once. It's like no, but you know what I mean. Like I think that
There's a
there's a
line.
balance, but I don't know. Like I grew up boxing a little bit, and when I did Bang Bang with Tim Blake Nelson,
Hmm.
I like just started training again, like boxing again, and then I started to kind of live my life like a fighter would live their life. But that's closer to me than um, like some sci-fi thing, right? Where like I grew up an athlete, so I played college tennis, like I grew up in the world. So that's a very comfortable place for Andrew. So yeah, but I mean, to your point, like yeah, it is lived experience helps. Like I think Killian Murphy said, like no actor is a good actor until they're 30 years old because they haven't lived enough. And like there's truth behind it.
Yeah.
I would like to think not 30 years, but there is truth behind that. You know, I think there's a whole bunch of lived experience in life that needs to be lived.
Yeah. It's funny, sort of going off that, especially what Killian said. I always am confused as to why some high schools do musicals that are about adults. Like a high school doing like Company. I don't know if you're familiar with Company, but
Yeah,
it's like the youngest character is 35.
yeah, I know.
So it's like, what do these 16 and 17-year-olds know about marriage and divorce? And, maybe they've experienced it with their parents, but they don't know what it's like to be in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely, I get what Killian's saying. It's like, what does a 22-year-old know about playing a 30-year-old? He's nowhere near that. But, they know a 22-year-old knows what it's like to play 17 because they were
Yeah,
already there. They've done that, so they can do those roles. Plus, it's always
100%.
18 plus to play younger. So,
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of funny. When I was 16 and I was seeing a 35-year-old dude book this thing, and I'm like, this makes no sense. I'm actually 16. I
Right.
was like, once I got to 22 playing the 17-year-old, I was like, I took a step back and I had to like get on myself a little bit and like, yeah, now I know what it actually is. Having the lived experience and
Hmm.
then processing it and then being like, this is what I was like in high school.
Right.
Not, I think I'm like this
Right. You have something
now.
to channel to, yeah.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, I did Mamma Mia. I was a grown man with kids and a wife
Yeah.
at the age of 17.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I'm curious, with auditions, you did sort of talk about you had these kind of three projects that you had to choose from. But I'm curious, is there another one that comes to mind of that's like a role that got away, like a role that you really, really liked? You did the audition, you were like, that was the best I could have possibly done with it, and it just wasn't meant to be, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
NDAs, obviously, if there is one, we can't
no,
talk too
I
much.
mean, I don't know. I think there was this period of time, COVID-ish, where being looking how I'm mixed, so I go out for Latino people, black people, white people all the time. But I'm either not black enough, I'm not white enough, I'm not Latino enough, and
Right.
then
Same.
when the mixed roles come along, you're like, oh yes, finally, this is me.
Yeah.
Um, I got pretty close to the Colin Kaepernick show that came out,
Mhm.
and I played football in high school, so and Kaepernick was like one of my favorite quarterbacks. So that was kind of one of those experiences where I was like really close, and then it was Zoom auditions and or Zoom
Yeah.
callbacks. So I met Ava DuVernay over Zoom, but then it was like my connection kept cutting out in the middle of this. It was just horrible. It was
Yeah.
awful, but it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think I looked too old anyways. So they went with this other actor. But yeah, I mean, there's a million stories like that. I was just talking to my friends the other day about like horrible auditions in the room,
Mhm.
because we have. I mean, I don't know. For me, I haven't auditioned in a room since pre-COVID.
Mhm.
So uh, a part of me misses it, a part of me doesn't, a part of me hates Zoom auditions, a part of me is like, what else could they do? But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of so many that get away from you that
Yeah.
or that you turn a tape in and you're like, there's no way they're not gonna love this, and you
Yeah.
don't hear a thing, and then you turn another tape in, and you're like, this is awful, this is
You
awful,
booked it.
and you book it, and it's like, what is happening? You don't know anything, you don't know anything.
Yeah. That's why we're on this end of casting, not on the other side of the table, you know? I
Exactly.
feel like I'm curious because, especially when I like got like my first reps about 5, 6 years ago, there were auditions coming my way that I was very confused about because I'm like, this character's in, and I was like 21 at the time, and very or like 24, and was very confused because like this character is supposed to be like 30 plus. Why on earth did they not only submit me for this, but why did I get an audition or whatever? And then it's like, but then eventually after doing that so many times, I'm like, you just come to the conclusion that's like, well, it's not, I'm not casting. So it's like, I'm not the one making these decisions. It's my job to submit the tape. And maybe there's, it's like they could go in another direction. They could lower the age. They could do whatever. Have there been experiences like that for you where you get something and you're like, why on earth did I get this? And then you kind of just take advantage of the opportunity. You're like, well, I've never read for this office before. So there's a good chance, a good
That's
opportunity
what
for that.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is, though. It's like, okay, I don't know if I like this character at all. I guess I'll just read for it and see what happens.
Mm.
But or this guy, well, I don't understand how I fit. But I mean, also like my dad gave me it was in high school, and we did this play called School Shooter. It was about a school shooter, and I auditioned for the jock that had this monologue, and it's a bunch of like little vignettes and monologues and stuff.
Mm.
And instead of auditioning for the school shooter, and I told my dad, I was like, yeah, no, I just like I think I align more with this character rather than the lead of the show. And he's like, well, isn't acting to just be someone different for a bit
Mm.
and like figure that out? And I took a second and I was like, you know what, you're kind of right. Why not go for the most challenging parts possible?
Mm.
And oftentimes that's kind of how I try to look at it now, where it's like, okay, I don't, this isn't me, but it's challenging and it's fun. And I think those are the most interesting parts. Like for Bang Bang, the original breakdown was like a gangly, strong, or a gangly, like alien looking kid um, with a droopy eye and shaved head. And I had curls like this, and I was not gangly. I was like strong and built, and um, I was playing it charismatic. And then Vince, the director, uh, Vincent Gradshaw, he was like, he liked my tape, and he was like, "Don't be charismatic. Just this kid is messed up a little bit."
Mm.
Okay, we go through the whole audition process, but they ended up changing the character a bit around me to fit.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it honestly worked better. It wouldn't have worked the other way around, I don't think. But yeah, I always look at those opportunities with it's a fun time to play.
Mm.
Um, Playing someone different, playing someone at a different age, but also then on the flip side of it, it's like if you're not going to tell me an age, you're not going to tell me a race, you're not going to tell me like I'd rather know so then I can give it a good what you're actually looking for.
Right.
I could give it a try because I don't know. For me, being mixed, I'm like if I do my hair a certain way or I wear a certain thing, I look like a different person.
Mhm.
So if you tell me, then there's wiggle room. But if you don't, like I don't know how you want me to look. I don't know what you want me to, So both sides.
Yeah. Especially, being mixed, and you get the ones that say like open ethnicity, open age, open. It's like, so I have to make a decision, which is, as an actor, you have to make a decision
Yeah.
already. But you have to make a decision on your performance. But now you have multiple factors going through, like you said, sort of your appearance, your hair, facial hair, how,
Exactly.
where in the 20s spectrum do you want me to pass
Exactly.
for. Yeah, it can definitely be a lot, especially in the world of self-taping. You're not only the actor going in for your audition, you're now the gaffer, you're putting up your lights and your
Yeah.
sound and your camera angles and all of that. I feel like actors have had to take on um, many, many hats over the last couple of years, especially because of that,
Yeah.
which is good to expand your skill set, but
Yeah. I think it's good. I don't know. I think it's in a way it's like the same type of it's different, but it opened me up. I would never really thought about being fascinated with the camera or fascinated with lighting or writing. And now like I found myself like I'm writing a show and I'm writing two films and like I'm trying to create for myself and it's gotten to the point where like if I was going in person auditions every week and not taping as much, it'd be different. But I now get to tape and learn from my tapes and work with other actors, and that's also a blessing. So two sides to the sword, but yeah, I mean, I think that personally speaking, it the process over the past few years with COVID and everything, and then the strikes, it's like really opened me up um, in like a creative professional sense where now I don't only want to be an actor. I don't think ever really did, but I want to direct and I want to produce and I want to write and I want to make my own things for myself. And I don't want to put trust in other people. If I can control it, I can control it. I think
Yeah.
that's something important that a lot of actors don't. I mean, a lot of people in general, it's a hard thing to learn, but it's like control the controllables.
Mhm.
If you can, do it. If you can't, don't worry about it. And that's like the hard truth of a lot of things in life. But when we're sitting here and we're like, I'm so pissed I didn't get this part. I'm like, okay, well, were you memorized? Were you prepared? Did you execute in the room? Did you let yourself be nervous and then be okay with that and then go? Okay, well, then you did everything you could do. It's not up to you.
Yeah.
And there's no point in getting mad about it. On to the next. You're going to get another opportunity. It's on to the next.
Yeah.
And then, like, in the professional sense, it's like, for me now, I'm like very, I'm a very driven person. If I'm not doing something, I'm like losing my mind. So I have to constantly be doing something. So once I started writing, I was very driven by that and driven by creating something for myself that I want to do. The movies that I love, the shows that I love, that I would want to be a part of. Let me just go make it myself.
Mhm.
And with self tapes and with the way the industry has kind of been flowing recently, I know a lot of actors that have taken this on themselves and are like, you know what, I'm just gonna write my own thing, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's a double edged sword, but I think there is good that comes out of everything.
Yeah. And especially with, if you like someone like yourself, you have Ransom Canyon coming out, and a lot of times if folks at a studio or a network are impressed with an actor, they'll often ask like, we want to develop something with you. Do you have any ideas? Do you have any pitches? And if like, as a matter of fact, I do, and you bring a stack
Yeah,
of scripts you've got done, it's like, great, hit the ground running. Instead of you like, panicking and being like, oh, I don't know, maybe something, like this. But yeah, I feel like these days it's just not enough. Sadly, not sadly, it's great because you get actors getting to develop these other skill sets, but it's not enough to be just an actor. I feel like it's so rare
yeah,
these days. Actors get attached to things as producers, co-writing, or they found the director or things like that,
yeah,
and that's always great. Like, I feel like Margot Robbie's a great example of that. She'd been
yeah,
developing Barbie to just be a producer. She wasn't even attached to it to star for a while.
yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
behold,
Yeah,
here
I
we go.
think that's something too that's what I looked at a lot is like you look at Margot Robbie, you look at Jake Gyllenhaal, you look at Brad Pitt, you look at all these people who are the best actors that we have today. And they all have their own production companies and have made all these other movies that you've seen that are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you don't even clock it. And um, I think that's important. I think it's important to constantly be throwing yourself into this, like a almost like selfless creativity, where it's like this isn't self-serving, but I love this story. I wonder what could happen about this, you
Mhm.
know? Um, so yeah, I totally agree. I think, in the same breath, like it is different where it's like in my head when I was 24, I was like, okay, let me start doing theater again and do this and do that and act in this and act in that and act in short film. And it's like, yeah, that's nice as well. But I think working all those other muscles helps my acting way more too.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that uh, is different now than it was before.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I love it. Josh Duhamel is an executive producer on Ransom Canyon, and he's a great actor, and he was there with us, killing it every single day.
Speaking of Ransom Canyon, before we go, I do want to talk a bit about it. We've actually had a few of your co-stars on the show before and are coming back to chat about the show. Nico Guardado, he was on the show a couple years ago.
That's
Justin
right.
Johnson Cortez, as well. We have his episode coming out soon. And sort of what was that sort of like a typical audition you taped and then found out you got it, or was it a bit of a longer process given how, involved your character is? for the show?
Well, I taped and then I found out I didn't get it. At the end of the week, I get a text or a call and I'm like, "Oh, okay, you have a callback on Zoom. It's like this 3-page monologue or whatever, and it's a chem read with one of the other characters. So it was with Garrett,
Mhm.
and I did that, and then literally 20 minutes after that, they told me I was the creative choice, and then Netflix said that I was like too big or something like that,
Mhm.
or I looked too old or what, I don't know, something. So then I had to put myself on tape again um, for the same scene, looking younger, and then I sent it in, and yeah, and then a month later, I was off to New Mexico. Pretty much, it was
Mhm.
quick for me, but I know like for some of the other actors, they had auditioned before the strike, and then were waiting and waiting
Oh
and
yeah.
waiting and waiting. So I didn't ever get the audition before the strike. So um, yeah, for me, it was kind of on the quicker end. But yeah, Nico's my guy. Nico and I are writing a film together, so
Nice.
we play best friends in the show. And the first night we filmed together, we just hit it off. And yeah, that was a positive experience of the show, which was like everyone was so good and so nice. And it's rare that you have experiences like that where you actually are friends with the people that you work with, and they
Yeah.
are good people, and it's a nice experience. Like that was awesome.
And we're gonna go into our final segment called "It's Time for Life's Big Questions." We always start with a easy one. If you could have any superpower, which would you choose?
It's like the hardest question. That's a question that I've argued over and over with my friends. Um, my favorite superhero is Batman, so endless money, brain power, and fighting skills.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Um, if you, oh dang, I think I forgot to write this one down. But you just reminded me of it. But would you rather be able to speak any language fluently or speak English in any accent authentically?
Any language, any language. Oh, that would be awesome. I
Um,
wish.
if you weren't working in the arts, what would you be doing for a living?
Hopefully, I'd be an athlete,
Mhm.
but I'm 5'8", and I was trying to play tennis. So yeah, I would if not an athlete, because that probably wouldn't have worked out. Probably be in real estate. My mom is an interior designer and flips houses, and uh, I love my mom,
Yeah,
so
family
I
business.
kind of do anything she'd do. I'd be like, "What do you need? I'll do it. Sure."
Right.
Um, but yeah,
What is your favorite way to consume art? Movie going, TV watching, concerts, museums. What is it for you?
movie watching is the
Mhm.
best. Having an experience for 3 hours by yourself or with other people, and it's a beginning, middle, and end. It's the
Yeah.
best.
I do double features almost like every week. I'll just go to like I have like Regal Unlimited. Yesterday I actually just watched Heart Eyes and The Monkey. Both were fantastic. So highly
Yeah.
recommend if you're a horror guy.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Heard good things about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the double feature. My dad. We would go every Saturday. That's kind of like my dad would take us to the movies every Saturday,
Mhm.
and my brothers didn't love it as much as I loved it. And then my dad and I would go do double headers, and like it was, yeah, that was kind of like the secretly what, now that I've processed it, what sparked it in the first place.
Mhm. What movie never fails to make you laugh?
Oh gosh, there are so many, like Ace Ventura,
Yeah.
something about Mary, Zoolander. Like
Mhm.
there's so
Yeah.
many.
It's a good
That
era.
age of Tropic Thunder, like
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
age of comedy, the best.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
It's a good question. I'd say "Why God Why" from Miss Saigon.
Good choice.
That's that's
Good choice.
that's my go-to.
You're hosting a dinner party and can invite any three actors to join you. Who are you inviting?
Three actors:
Mhm.
Jake Gyllenhaal, Brad Pitt, and Paul Newman.
Awesome. And in 10 words or less, what advice would you give to a young actor?
Talk and listen. Control the controllables. Just keep living. Go be a kid. Don't worry about it.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us today on Actors with Issues. Such a pleasure chatting with you, and congrats on Ransom Canyon. I can't wait to see it. I'm waiting for screeners so I can sort of watch in advance of the other interviews, but I gotta wait. But yeah, thank you so much. And if anyone wants to give you a follow on social media, where can they find you?
Drew.Liner
Awesome. On Instagram,
on
everywhere.
Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. Alrighty, folks, and thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and we'll see you next time on Actors with Issues.
Boom.
Thanks for joining us. Actors with Issues is hosted and produced by Juan Ayala. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or on the podcast platform you're listening to. Visit actorswithissues.com for exclusive news and reviews, and give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok at Actors with Issues.